So when it comes to my thoughts on this game, and like I'm not doing a review, but like if I were to do a review, I'm trying to like unpack my feelings about this game, right? I feel like when it comes to like hype, like my hype for Frontiers was absolutely insane, and I think I walked away with more positive feelings with this game than I did in Frontiers. Low-key, polish is like a big thing for me when it came to Frontiers. Like I had to make a lot of excuses in order for me to like enjoy Frontiers at its fullest potential, and there's a lot of stuff that I didn't really like I could not stand the controls in cyberspace and Frontiers and things like that, like, and even having to like adjust my controls and stuff like that. Like when it comes to playing Frontiers without mods, a modless experience, I will pick Shadow Gens any day. I'm being for real, because like unmodded Sonic Frontiers, like that's not it. This game was just a much more full experience. The levels, not that I loved every level, but I just think that the levels in these games, I did love every, no I didn't. The rail level, the heroes level, I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of mid. Even as 2D was mid. And speaking of the 2D, this is the best 2D in any Sonic game, in my opinion. Give me your 5 best Sonic 1 stages. Your 5 best. How many 2D stages in here? Like if you do the gauntlet, the 5 best Sonic Rush stages, the 5 best Sonic 3 stages, 5 best of everything, I'm picking Shadow Gens 2D over all of them. Like that's really how I feel. Like I like Superstars, but I'm picking. Am I picking Shadow Gens over? You know, I gotta think. But at least what I'm feeling right now, like I never thought I would ever see 3D and 2D in the same game and be more excited for the next 2D stage, considering I don't even like 2D like that. So to me, that just shows how good the mess is. Like I never thought I would say I want in the future, I want more 2D stages. Like I would be like, I've always been the type, but like I only want this 3D only for the rest of Sonic history. Like that's how I feel about freaking Sonic. But yeah, this mess made me realize that it would be pretty cool to have some 2D, as long as they're at this freaking level. You know, I want nothing less. Like, and just the perspective, I know like they had the same, that one thing they did in this game and in Generations and in Unleashed is they had that, like, it's not exactly like a 2D angle. It's like a little and even like this stage, like I love this Kingdom Valley stage, but low key I think 2D Kingdom Valley is the best stage in the game. I love Space Colony Arc Act 2. I think that's, well, I don't know, I just beat the boss, so I have to like see. I don't know how everything stacks up against like the final levels, but out of like the main stages, Kingdom Valley Act 2 is the best stage in this game. Story, I enjoyed it more than the Frontier story. I enjoyed it more than a lot of games story, though it was more, did I enjoy it more than Frontier story? Well, no, I enjoyed Frontier story more. I think the dialogue and stuff like that is nice, everything's good. It's just that with Frontiers, you didn't know what was gonna happen at the end. Like this is a story, like alongside Sonic Generation story, we know what's gonna happen for the most part. You know, there's some story beats, there's still some mystery, like is that the real freaking Doom? Which I guess it freaking was. It was the real Doom that for some reason didn't die. I don't know why he didn't die, but Fool wasn't dead. I guess actually the story is, the fact that there wasn't any twist about Doom's identity or nothing is low-key a little weak, makes the story a little weaker. Because like it was kind of random. And you know, just the fact it didn't get settled, like I know it's like, oh, it's Generations, but there's like another rehashing of his past that, like, you know, I think that the devil powers, I mean the Doom powers, the idea that this gave him Doom powers is fire. So I'm glad they brought him back so you can give him the powers. But like from a story perspective, I don't really care for the Shadow Generation story that much, I guess. But the way they did it, like just the script and things like that, is much better than most Sonic games too. I mean, story and even stories is still much better. I like how I take it seriously, like, you know, that is emotional at points. It didn't necessarily make me emotional, but you know, I did feel sorry for my boy Shadow a lot. Especially, I think the divergence, that the cut. I mean, I guess that counts as part of the story too, right? Oh, and it's Knuckles' divergence, but it's Shadow. I forgot what the Dark Beginnings. Oh my gosh, Imuro. They didn't do nothing with my boy Imuro, bro. Oh my god, I'm so sad about that. That had me. I think that would have been like the hypest part of the story, but they didn't include my boy. I thought he was at least gonna come in at the end or something, or maybe he's gonna be a boss fight. But you know, it's okay. It's okay. We all good. Shadow's abilities were fire. That's one of the greatest things about this game. And the music was pretty lame, but some of the 2D remixes were better than the freaking 3D ones. Like this Kingdom Valley remix is so good. Like it's more like moving, and it's like it sounds so much more epic. And even Space Colony Act 2, even though it wasn't like moving epic or nothing like that, like it still was like at least interesting. Like it kind of went in like an interesting way. And especially Chaos Island Act 2, like it like explored a different aspect of the song. And so I rock with the Act 2 remix is okay, but for the most part, like most of this music was pretty whack. But I'm glad they give you a big selection of songs. The game is a very good game. It's short, but you know, obviously it wasn't in full price. It's short, it's very polished, there's no grand flaws or nothing. I just wish that there's a couple things that I would change. The soundtrack is the weakest part of this game, I feel, and I wish that the trailers didn't show so much. And I think just in the future, I'm just gonna stop watching Sonic trailers, because since they're like underdogs, they got a lot to prove. Like in this aspect, they showed a lot of the game, and even in Frontiers, in hindsight, they showed off all the islands. They showed off all. We thought there were 5 islands. In reality, there was just 3, and the grass one was split into threes. So they really showed off a lot of the game. And honestly, like, I'm not really with that anymore. Like, I'm tired of getting spoiled on everything. I also wish they would change his freaking boost animation. I hate that animation. Like, control wise and moveset wise, it's amazing. And his moveset and all the things that he can do, all the little tech there, like you can like conserve your momentum, and just like all his moves he has and stuff like that. Like it takes so much more from you that it's gameplay wise, it's like, unfortunately Sonic can't really use these attacks, but maybe they can like level up Sonic in a way. But you know, I'll go into more detail in the eventual video I will do on when it comes to like Sonic and engagement. This game keeps you engaged throughout the level. In adventure games, it's mainly the physics that keeps you so engaged and on your toes, and Unleashed is very like reaction heavy. In this game, you have all these different abilities that a lot of them do ask you to react, like when you're shooting the spears to like flip those switches, like, or you know, just the way that you have to do that Doom morph and swing upwards, or use a momentum in different ways. So it all keeps you engaged in different ways. But Frontiers, like especially talking about cyberspace, like in that game, all you did was just boost, and that's all you did. And you just boosted and jumped, you know. Even in this game, stomping is just an accessory. You don't have to stomp in any real situation, except for boxes, like on the vertical boxes. Those are the only times you have to stomp. You don't have to slide, and the same for Frontiers. So it's like a very limited moveset, and then the physics aren't there. Doesn't have adventure physics, so the level design doesn't keep you engaged like that. Level design in general wasn't that interesting, even though a lot of it was copied from other games, just because of the physics combined. Like there wasn't nothing to keep you engaged. Like you can take Cityscape's level design, but strip it of all the momentum and pinball physics, and it becomes like more bland. Especially when you do stuff like you don't even have to jump to homing attack no more. Like you're just pressing the same button. You know, everything's a dash ring, everything's a dash pad. Like they automate so many things. But Shadow Gens, they make you, just like Generations, they make you jump before you homing attack. There's still ways they can homing attack needs to be more engaging. Like you shouldn't be able to just homing attack without aiming at someone. You should be able to hold the stick and then homing attack like the adventure games. But that's also things like if you fall off, there's certain levels where if you fell off the if you're like running, like when you're sliding down those like you're sliding down an incline and he's like, or you know, like he's sliding down a building, if he's sliding he can't jump after he falls off. That's like the adventure games. Like in this game, if you fall off something, you can just double jump. I'm so glad they also took away that classic running thing where you keep running and you walk up thing. That looks so bad in 3D. That only works in 2D games and with classic Sonic. But you know, there's little things that they did that made the game feel less like automated and brain dead like it can in Frontiers. And I love Frontiers, by the way, but you know, like I said, the unmodded experience isn't really that cold to me. If you've never played a Sonic game before, like you like on the fence about Sonic, like you gotta play this game. Like this game is actually like this. The main reason fools don't like Sonic is because of like polish, and it can be like frustrating like when you get bodied and stuff like that. Like it asks a lot from you. It's a type of game that you have to replay. Has that arcade type of like values. I also this off topic. I don't like how you can homing attack rails in this game, but at least like with, you know, the reticle just auto locks on. But I get that like, oh, it's trying to be consistent with gens, so I don't like that. I wish you just had to jump on it manually or like aim your air dash on it, but you know, that's here nor there. But yes, I highly recommend this game. But if you never played a Sonic game before, you gotta play Sonic Generations first, because like low-key this game is kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like if you saw how it did on the last level, then you're gonna understand. But yeah, game definitely goes crazy. The open zone is of course way better than the white space in Generations. This one was okay. I think I just wish that every time that you unlock a stage, and you know, you can gradually make the whole area around it look more like the level theme. I wish you could eventually just cover the whole map. That's the same thing with white space too. I just feel like it's really ugly, this whole white space thing. Like it would have been so much better if in Generations like the whole thing just ended up looking like a whole mosh podge of Sonic stages. Same with Shadow Gens, same complaint. One thing that's very interesting about the way that he controls, especially in the open zone, is he actually, for the first time, he actually feels like he's skating. Like if you go at his max run speed, not his boost speed, but max run speed, and you just turn around in a circle, he actually like slides a little bit. Like there's a little bit of like delay, and he kind of does like a you know, it's like he's on wheels. I mean, on skates. And so I didn't necessarily, I like it in the sense that, wow, it makes Sonic and Shadow feel differently. But I prefer the way that Sonic typically would feel in those situations. So like I liked it, but I didn't really like it. But it also wasn't that big of a deal. Would I like them to do that in future games? No, especially if you're gonna make Adventure 3. Do not do that mess. I will literally like no disrespect, don't do that mess. Next time you put Shadow in the game, I'd rather not do that mess, or at least tone it down a bunch. But it still was really awesome, and I think they just improved a lot on the control compared to Frontiers, especially during the actual levels. Like the boost turning, and even like the top run speed turning was slightly better. You know, it didn't feel nearly as egregious like in cyberspace. The boost turning speed is much better, but I really do wish that his top run speed, I wish that turning would have stayed like the open zone. Like stop trying to make him be so stiff. Like I'm being for real. I'm cool with you making the boost a little bit stiffer than the open zone. You know, the white space open zone. The white space open zone, the boost is perfect, like the turning. But if you're getting in the levels, make it like, you can make it a little bit stiffer. And all the things you have to do in the open zone, they're much funner than like cyberspace and stuff. It's just, I wasn't really as interested in doing them. But I'm glad that they gave the hard mode version. Like, that's one of my biggest complaints with Frontiers. All of that stuff was so easy. So the hard mode stuff is fire. The collectibles that you actually have to find, and a lot of them, fire. The music notes, the idea of like you having to chase something down, because this is, one of my very first video I ever used a mic, I talk about chasing in Sonic games, like being chased and chasing people or things or whatever. So like the idea of chasing music notes or whatever, trying to catch up to something, that's the best thing about super speed or speed in general. Like that's the best thing about the Flash. Like see the Flash running trying to chase him. So like having fast stuff to chase, that's awesome. So we need more of that energy, not just with the music notes, but with boss fights. Oh, the boss fights. I didn't even talk about the boss fights, but they always have a lot of like chasing boss fights in Sonic games. Like we need more control. Like I have another video talking about what's that game called? The Huntress, the Dauntless, something like that. Where just go check out those games and their boss fights. They do chasing right, but the bosses, Bowlizard from Sonic Adventure 2 is one of my favorite bosses of all time. It was slightly, a little. I mean, they did some cool stuff with it, but it's too easy. Like I love the freaking. I don't like the idea. I understand like, oh, we want to modernize things, make things a little less frustrating. That's perfectly fine. Like one thing about like those dark spheres that the Bowlizard shoots in SA2, it does take like reactions have to be on point. And of course with like the somersault, if you're not holding forward when you somersault, then it's like Sada's gonna do that like stop animation, and a lot of times what's gonna get you hit. I wish they would have made the slide useful. It's still the same issues I have with Frontiers. Like still not enough stuff is useful like slide, but just in overall it is a little too easy. And even like jumping on the little purple balloons or whatever, like I just hate like the automation, that oversimplification of stuff. When he turned into a freaking monster and had the two tentacle things, okay, that's cool. Ending was cool, but it was a mid-boss fight. Nowhere near as good as the real Bowlizard. And I think my favorite bosses in Sonic in general is Bowlizard, Final Hazard. I love Metal Overlord in Heroes, and I do love freaking Wyvern. Wyvern is like my freaking goat. I love Wyvern. I think Wyvern is my #1 Sonic boss, especially Final Horizon Wyvern, pre-patch Final Horizon Wyvern. Oh my god, I love that so much. And I like, after I figured him out, I did like the Final Horizon final boss as well. Metal Overlord and Shadow Gens, however, it was good. I didn't really care for it as much. And again, this has to do with being spoiled. I shouldn't have been spoiled. I'm sure that just like with Bowlizard, all this stuff, if I didn't see all this mess in the trailers, I would probably be like on the ground crying, seeing the Bowlizard like that again. Like I would have loved that mess so much more. Same with Metal Overlord. I would have never guessed they'd put Metal Overlord in. So that was freaking awesome. But it was an okay boss fight. But Mephiles was freaking fire. Mephiles is one of the coldest boss fights in Sonic history. That mug was fire. And just the idea that like, okay, yeah, you have us using these new moves, these new Doom powers. I like that. And I love how he freaking countered it. Like, that's what you be seeing in other games, like in AAA games. Like they'll introduce you a new move, and then you fight a boss, you have to use a new move. Then you get to the new boss, and you try to use the old move, but then they're cold, so they counter that mess. Or what happened with Mephiles is, you use it against him like once, and then you try to use him again, and he said, nah, I know that mess now. That mess was fire, bro. So yes, Mephiles was cold. Who was the last boss? Did they even have, I think those were the only 3 bosses. And then Evil Doom, he was cold. I think I also just had like my mind in a different headspace, because I always thought that Shadow was going to have like a whole new freaking ability, but he didn't. So, which is not bad or anything. Like, I mean, when I mean new ability, I mean the Doom Wings. I did not realize that was. It wasn't until I beat the game that I realized, oh, Doom Wings is supposed to be like his supersonic power up, which is amazing, by the way. Like, it's so smart that they did that. But I didn't realize Doom Wings was going to be like, if they would have said something in the story to like signify that, like, oh, this is the last ability, I'm unlocking it. Oh, it's my last ability. I'm everything. Now I would understand like that's the finale. I think one thing is that maybe that they could have made his little super form a little better is that he's having all this Doom ability, all this dark energy coming in him. I wish they could have gave him like a little dark aura, or like show more parts of him. I know that's their precious shadow. Like you can't dysmorph him and make him look too much like a monster. Like you have to keep him nice and cute and pretty. But I wish they would have like maybe like his hand looked like he got a little doom glove, you know, when he uses the doom spear, and then, you know, the on his feet he got the whatever. So I just wish they would have showed more that like, oh, this is final form Shadow. But you know, Doom Wings is still freaking awesome. That whole boss fight is awesome. It's a really great final boss. So it's up there definitely. The last two bosses are amazing. But yes, I'm very happy with Shadow Generations. They've improved a lot on Frontiers that a lot of stuff that fools don't really know. Maybe that might be another video I have to make. There's so many freaking vids I have to make, bro. Oh my gosh, I still have to make my video on my next Sonic composer, on Kenichi Tokoi. I think that's his first name. But yes, I gotta do my boy Tokoi. Then I have to do, I guess I need to make my video on Tokoi. Then I can make my video on, I did my video on ranking systems. Okay, so I just need to do this one about, you know, blending Adventure Sonic and Boost Sonic. So, or maybe there's something else. I gotta look at my schedule. But of course, all this Rivals 2 stuff coming out. I have so many stupid videos I'm trying to do. But anyway, thank you very much if you listened this long. I really appreciate you. Hope you're having fun with the game. If you don't play Sonic, I promise you, like, get this game. Like, this is just a freaking crazy good platformer in general. But yes, y'all be blessed, y'all be safe. Peace.